Good morning, you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
And I'm Stacey.
It's Monday, October 24th. And here's why today is strange.
All right, so let's start off with another UFO story.
Oh, well, we've had quite a few of these.
We have. Now, this one is really interesting. It was actually covered on the Today Show.
You don't say.
I don't say. I mean, UFOs are becoming very mainstream, and they didn't even make fun of it.
Yeah, that's very mainstream.
Yes. So this one is about Ben Hansen. Now, he's the host of the Discovery Plus show, UFO Witness.
Yes.
And he is a former FBI agent, for anyone who doesn't know who he is. Great guy. But he has obtained new footage and air traffic control recordings that reveal baffled pilots struggling to describe their bizarre mid-air sightings. And this is over the Pacific Ocean. And they are reports that were by dozens of pilots flying across the Pacific Ocean just in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Now, it says here that he compiled the accounts of the pilots from Southwest Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, and others between August 6th and September 23rd.
Right.
And even in one account, a former military pilot reported seeing multiple aircraft flying above him. Now, one of the things that all of these accounts are saying is they're describing the way that these UFOs or UAPs are moving is like in a racetrack formation.
Right, right.
Like they're sort of circling around in this weird formation. This is not something that we've really heard a lot about before.
No, it's not.
No. Now, they did talk about one particular sighting by veteran pilot Chris Van Voorhees. And he claims that he saw 3 to 5 bright objects flying in a circular motion like a racetrack for hours while flying over the Pacific Ocean from Honolulu to Los Angeles. And now he is racked up over 32,000 hours of flight experience. He knows what he's seeing when he's flying. And he radioed to see if anybody else had seen it. Other people saw the same thing that he saw. And he said it was very, very high orbit. He said it could possibly have been out in space. It was hard to tell because it was really high up there. And that it was like every time they saw it, it was in the same place in the sky. No matter where they were, it was always in the same place, the lower right-hand corner of where the Big Dipper was.
Yeah.
So really, really crazy, strange sightings.
Mr. Voorhees there, the responsible one in the family. The other one spent a lot of time at summer camp. But other than that, and my problem is the consistency of these reports. Now, that would normally be a good thing.
Right.
The problem I have with it is I've never heard of these before the last few weeks.
Right.
Now, we do this every day. We've done this every day for over a decade. Comb through all the UFO reports.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not there, right? Obviously, it's there. And it's a great thing that it is there, that we're getting this incredible, reports. But it's just like the only thing I'm hearing is about these.
It's like they've picked this one thing out.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal, but it's still a deal to watch a little bit, because to me, that's something. There's something there, because it's just so... There's something there that seems to be part of a story. Right. Does a narrative. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. And here's another thing that we've heard a little bit about recently. Ben said that at least 6 of the pilots, even though these were seen by upwards of 15 different commercial flights, he said at least 6 of the pilots are willing to go on record with their names and everything if asked to do so by any investigative agencies, or maybe, Congress or, So here's another mention of, people coming forward, whistleblowers coming forward.
Right. So this is very controlled. Okay. We know that the UFO phenomena, the UAP phenomena, it comes in all shapes and sizes.
It does.
Okay. There's blue million crafts. There is a multitude of different sightings with aliens themselves, and the nature of the phenomena. From a regular sighting to a landing in a schoolyard, and to diddling. I mean, it's all over the place.
It is. It is.
Right?
It is.
Alien play poker with me. Whatever. It's not a big hey, it just goes in the circle, racetrack thing, blah, blah. That's awesome. It really is.
Right.
But it also is just a little weird to me because this is the one that's being picked up everywhere. When I see all these mainstream places just like talking about the same thing, it's weird. It's just a little weird.
It is.
And, so I have trouble trusting the mainstream media. Just do. And I can't just turn it on because it's a story I like.
Right.
So if I mistrust you on the reason that oil is high, if I mistrust you on the reason that these two people are fighting one another, if I mistrust you on this political candidate's background, whatever, I can't just automatically trust you because you're giving me the score of my favorite football team.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying don't trust them at all. Be cautious and think for yourself and just keep your eyes open. That's all I'm saying. This is a cool story, very cool story. Ben Hansen, I trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%. But just keep your eyes open.
All right. Well, let's move on to something weird that happened in Los Angeles.
You don't say.
Yes, that's a shocking statement, isn't it?
I'm
sure. This is something that happened the other day. More than 30 drivers got flat tires along 405 near Mulholland Drive during their morning commute. And officials believe, I don't guess they're sure, but they believe that maybe some nails got spilled in the road, some blocks of wood or something, but you can see the cars completely lined up end to end on the side of the road, and they're all changing their tires. 30 plus cars right near Mulholland Drive.
So a lot of your newer cars, I mean, even if you get a nail, it's not just going to blow right there.
Right.
You're going to be able to drive it to a place.
No, apparently not these 30 plus. It's the strangest sight I've ever seen.
Huh.
All lined up against the interstate, changing their tires.
That is kind of funny.
Mulholland Drive is very urban legends like crazy, very haunted.
Yes, it
Very
is.
haunted.
Also a good movie.
Yes.
It's got some good nudity in that movie.
The things you remember from movies.
Well, Jennifer Connelly.
No, I see. You say no more. Say no more. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about some spooky artificial intelligence.
It's all spooky.
It is.
It needs to die.
So this spooky artificial intelligence supposedly can accurately predict the future. And they're about to ask it some more questions.
Don't ask it questions. You're creating the future.
So the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Light in Germany.
Max Planck?
I'm pretty sure that's how you say
Oddly
that.
enough, in my former career as an adult film star,
right?
That was my stage name.
Was it? Max Planck Institute for the Science of Light in Germany asked the artificial intelligence software to predict how the AI progressed. Now, here's what they did. They took a total of 143,000 papers on artificial intelligence that were done back before like 1993.
Oh, no.
Okay. And they fed all of these studies.
It's like watching Sandra Bullock in the net.
To the artificial intelligence. So all of them were old studies. And then
I'm a hacker.
Asked the AI to predict how that artificial intelligence was going to progress till now by just giving it the old information. And it was almost 100% right with its predictions on how that was going to progress to this day. So they feel like that means that it can accurately predict what will happen to us in the future if we give it what we have now.
Okay.
I mean, I see the thinking there.
Yeah, but I've seen movies that also accurately predicted it. I'm just saying.
Right.
I can go watch, I can go read 1984 right now. It didn't have the year right.
Right. It's pretty close though.
It didn't have the year right. Sure as hell had the narrative right.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what they're going to start doing with that. I guess they're going to keep studying it. I hope they don't just start asking it all kinds of things.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they already have. We just don't know about it.
I'm sure they're doing a lot of things with it.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh,
so
please.
We have had the 6th Nessie sighting of 2022 added to the official Loch Ness Monster sightings register. Had 6 this year.
You what?
We've had 6 this year.
Yes, 6.
6 sightings.
We have.
Of the Loch Ness Monster. So this particular sighting was on October 11th. It has officially now been added to the register. And the other sightings this year have been on, and if you're just listening, this is not going to be fun for you because I'm going to show pictures. August 27th, April 25th, April 15th, April 4th, big month April for the Loch Ness Monster, and March 30th.
Spring fever.
Very active, yes. So it must be getting ready to,
right.
hibernate now. So they have a photograph. It looks like a black lump. It appeared out of the water and sat for like 30 seconds and then disappeared again under the water. It just looks like a lump. That's usually what most of these look like.
Well, I mean...
I find it kind of funny because there is a gentleman in Scotland that watches the Loch Ness Monster, the Loch Ness webcams, constantly, just combs through the footage constantly. You'll see articles about him. And he has a lot of sightings this year that he's pulled from those cameras, but they won't add any of his sightings to the actual official Loch Ness Monster sightings register.
He's that guy.
I'm not sure why.
He's that
There's
guy.
a thing going on there.
There's always one.
There's a thing.
There's always one. It doesn't matter if it's the space station cam.
Right.
I'm not going to say any names, but there's any kind of live cam like that.
Right.
There's always one.
There's the person.
There's the person. And they do get a lot of good ones.
They do.
But
they do.
They also get a lot of them.
Yeah, right. Right. So
listen, you got to excuse Stacey and I. We had a wonderful weekend at Scarefest.
yes.
It was fun. It was a good time. Hey, here's a couple pictures. If you're on audio right now, because we met you and you're like, well, I love YouTube, but I don't really have time for YouTube.
Right.
So I listen to the podcast all the time. I want you to really think about in your head where you were at when you met us. And just imagine the fact that there was, a face in there with us and you saw the pictures.
There you go.
There you go. We had a good time. Can't wait till next year.
Yes.
It's the best con of all cons. And
so much fun.
It's just a lot of fun, a lot of cool people we met. And we talked about a lot of Paranormal Sideshow as well, our sister show. Mm-hmm. And just throwing this in there, you guys will be getting it very, 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 very soon because it's got a whole new coat of paint. That's what I'll say about a whole new coat of paint.
There you go.
For the sideshow. Carry on, my wayward son.
All right. So let's move on to this very strange story from California about a convertible that was reported stolen in 1992 was found buried in the yard of
Takes the cops a long time.
$15 million California
They called 911 in 1992.
They finally got
there. The car
there.
was a block away from the house. Those sons of bitches just got here.
Oh, wow. So this is a convertible Mercedes Benz. It's filled with bags of unused concrete because that's not, suspicious at all. It was discovered by landscapers in the affluent town of Atherton in Silicon Valley. Affluent, yes. Now, the people that live in the house didn't live there in the 90s. They had just bought it recently. And I guess they had some landscapers out there, uncovered this convertible that was completely buried in the yard. And so they called the police. The police came.
Did the flowers grow rather well right there?
Probably. They brought the cadaver dogs in. Now, the cadaver dogs alerted to possible human remains, but they haven't found any kind of human remains yet. The entire car has not been excavated as of right this second. I think they've gotten the passenger side uncovered. It's about 4 to 5 feet deep in the backyard. And it turns out that the person that lived there in the 90s was someone that had been arrested for murder, attempted murder, and insurance fraud. That's who lived there at the time that the car was allegedly buried. It was buried. They know it was. That gentleman passed a few years ago, but they did talk to his daughter, and she did confirm that they did live there at the time.
His daughter, who had a beard, looked a lot like her father, except that wonderful blonde hair that...
Right.
I've not seen him in a long time. He did drive that car.
I think he passed. They're still waiting on DMV records to confirm the possible owner of the car, and they keep bringing the cadaver dogs in periodically. And they said that the dogs are alerting them to stuff, but that could just be like blood or vomit, or
it's California.
It doesn't have to be remains.
It's California. It's a wonder the dogs make it to the site.
An entire car.
What's wrong, Risky? No. That's just the street, buddy. You know, I mean,
Like, don't dump it in the river. Let's bury it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
what?
know, right?
Oh my gosh. How much work is that?
well, I mean, it's a pretty good plan.
Do you think they thought that if they filled it with unused concrete, like it would rain and the concrete would solidify and they'd never find it or something? Like, was there a plan for the unused concrete?
I bet there was. I bet they thought that it would kind of.
Yeah, like help it sink down further or something.
Right.
Like the whole trunk was full of it and the back seat and everything was just full of unused bags of concrete.
Maybe that's not actually concrete in those bags.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the cadaver dogs are after.
Yeah. Maybe concrete, you know, mix a little concrete in with dog food.
Very strange. Very strange. All right, let's move on to our last story. This is from Florida. And this is about workers at a car dealership in Florida. They examined a car that was dropped off for service. They made a surprising discovery. An entire live coyote was wedged in the front grille of the car. The poor thing. They called the St. Francis Wildlife Association, and they said in a Facebook post that the rescue was dispatched to the Toyota dealership in Tallahassee when garage workers preparing to service a car that had been dropped off discovered a live coyote embedded in the grill. So what they believe happened was the person hit a wild animal, and I guess they didn't see it, and so they just continued on. And I guess the coyote got wedged in the grill of the car. They rescued it. He did go under surgery for a leg injury, but he's fine. And they expect him to make a full recovery.
In other news, this cheeky roadrunner has been seen all around the street, full on birdseed. All I seen when you reported that.
There's like a hole in the front of the grill. The coyote's in there. It's great.
Meep, meep.
Poor thing. The poor thing. You know, one time I hit a bird when I was driving. I didn't mean to, but animals run in front of me when I drive. It's not my fault. They are drawn to my car. But
it's like the feckin' Omen.
I hit a bird and I didn't see it after I hit it. And I was just like, I was hoping that I didn't hurt it or anything. And I got to a gas station and I got out to get gas. And some guy came up and said, did you know there's a bird hanging from the front of your car? And its feet got stuck. They had to pull the poor thing off. It was dangling like a hood ornament or something. I don't know. The poor thing. So it happens. It happens.
She had a horse jump out in front of her.
Twice.
She had some deer. Everybody's had deer, but not like Stacey.
No, it jumped up on the roof and slid up and broke my windshield.
Big buck. Big rack.
And just ran off.
Deer had antlers too, but coming right up the hood, she told me the story. Not in a funny way. Frantic. Begging me not to laugh about it.
It was
because
awful.
It was serious, and she was so
He jumped
upset.
on my hood,
She said,
he slid up the hood, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and we made eye contact, and it was like in slow motion. Then he broke my windshield and ran off and didn't look back. Didn't even stop to see if I was okay. He was not a nice deer.
And that's why today is strange.